Aren't Arabs terrified? Aren't Iraqis terrified? Don't Arab women weep?
It was 2003 and the British Parliament was voting on whether to carry out airstrikes in Iraq. And Tony Benn's problem was that this action felt very distant to the politicians and he needed to make it feel immediate. So the first thing he did to make it feel much more immediate was to give his own personal experience.
But I was in London in the Blitz in 1940, living in the Millbank Tower where I was born. Some different ideas have come in since. And every night I went down to the shelter in Thames House. Every morning I saw Dockland burning. 500 people were killed in Westminster one night by a landmine. It was terrifying.
Most MPs in 2003, of course, had never experienced war, so he had to bring that feeling into the room. These are not statistics, these are his own memories from growing up. The second thing he did was use rhetorical questions.
Aren't Arabs terrified? Aren't Iraqis terrified? Don't Arab women weep?
Rather than telling them that Iraqis are human, he asked questions that forced them to answer it themselves. He gives space to their own thoughts. And if you listen to the passion in his voice, he's not performing it, he is channeling his own emotion. The third thing he does is he holds a mirror up to the politicians.
When their children die, doesn't bombing strengthen their determination? What fools we are to live in a generation for which war is a computer game for our children and just an interesting little Channel 4 news item. Every member of Parliament tonight who votes for the government motion will be consciously and deliberately accepting the responsibility for the deaths of innocent people.
He's talking, of course, about how bombing made the UK way more determined in 1940, so why would it work differently in Iraq? He's using the own history of the British people against this sort of sanitized thinking. The fourth thing he does, and one of the most powerful things, I think, is he closes with talking about betrayal.
We, the people of the United Nations, determined to save future generations, succeeding generations, from the scourge of war, which twice in our lifetime has caused untold suffering to mankind. That was the pledge of that generation to this generation, and it would be the greatest betrayal of all if we voted to abandon the Charter and take unilateral action and pretend we were doing it in the name of the international community.
He talks about the UN Charter and the promise of the generation that fought in World War II and makes the point that if you vote yes, you are betraying them. That's not an argument. He's appealing to their values. 4 moves: personal experience to collapse distance, questions to force empathy, historical mirror to challenge logic, and values to make it about identity. That is how you make distant horror feel immediate. What is the most powerful speech you've ever heard? Let me know in the comments.